When we talk about creating a sustainable future, our minds usually jump to things like solar panels, electric cars, or maybe big international policies. But what if the real key, the true foundation for a healthy planet, isn't just technology? What if it's something way more personal? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into the core values that really make sustainability work. And look, this conversation is not new. This urgent warning right here, it comes from the Earth Summit way back in 1992. It just sets the stage so perfectly, reminding us that for, over 3 decades now, we've known about these huge, tangled challenges, everything from social inequality to environmental collapse. The stakes have always been incredibly high. So that brings us right to this moment. We are, without a doubt, at a crossroads. We're living with the results of past actions. You see it everywhere, right? Environmental damage, deep social divides, and this very real danger of creating what some are calling an uninhabitable Earth. So the real question for us is, are we actually building a future, or are we just borrowing from it, kind of hoping the bill never comes due? But hey, this doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. Not at all, because right in the middle of all these challenges, a really powerful and hopeful idea came along, a concept designed to help us find our way, and that vision is sustainable development. Here's the classic definition, and honestly, it's pretty brilliant in how simple and powerful it is. See, it's not about slamming the brakes on progress. It's about a smarter, more thoughtful kind of progress. It makes us ask this one crucial question with every single decision. Hey, what does this mean for the people who come after us? So how do we pull this off? Well, the whole idea rests on 3 pillars that are totally connected. Think of it like a 3-legged stool. If you take one leg away, the whole thing topples over. A healthy planet doesn't mean much if people are in poverty, and a booming economy is worthless if it trashes the environment and makes inequality worse. They all have to grow together. Okay, so we've got the vision, we've got the framework, but what's the actual tool we use to build this thing? Well, pretty much everyone agrees it comes down to one thing: education. But, and this is a big but, not just the kind of education we're used to. To really make this happen, we need a major shift in how we teach and how we learn. This table just lays out the pivot we need to make so clearly. We have to move from just learning about nature in biology class to understanding the whole environment, including our role in it. It's about shifting from a teacher just talking at you to students getting their hands dirty and participating. And maybe most importantly, the goal isn't just awareness anymore. The new goal is action, getting people ready to actually solve real-world problems. And this right here brings us to the absolute heart of the matter. Because having all the knowledge in the world about climate change or social justice doesn't automatically make us choose the right thing. The real engine for change is something much, much deeper. This simple example is just so perfect because it captures that gap between what we know and what we do. The kid knows the rule, right? But their actions are driven by something else. Or maybe by the lack of something else, a genuine underlying value of respect for that animal. So here's the bottom line. Sustainable development isn't something we can just build with new policies and fancy tech. It has to grow from a collective mindset, from an attitude, from a culture that is shaped by the values we believe in. Our behavior follows our beliefs. It's as simple as that. And right at the center of this new mindset is one single core value: respect. And it's a big, all-encompassing kind of respect. We're talking respect for other people, both the ones here now and the ones who aren't even born yet. Respect for different cultures, different ideas. And of course, a deep, profound respect for the environment and the fact that its resources aren't endless. And you can see how this one idea of respect just branches out and supports this bigger framework. It becomes a foundation for all these other values we need for a thriving world. What's so cool here is how practical these related values are. I mean, you can't have sustainability without moderation, the idea of just using what we need, or critical thinking, which lets us challenge the way things have always been done. It's all connected. Okay, this all sounds really good in theory, but how do you actually teach a value? Like, how do you teach compassion or conservation? How do we get these ideas out of our heads and into our actions? Well, this shows us exactly how it's done. And hence, it's not about more lectures. It's about experience. You don't just read about a forest in a textbook. You go on a field trip. You feel the dirt. You smell the air. You don't just learn the definition of empathy. You role-play what it's like to be in someone else's shoes. And you don't just talk about conservation.
You make recycling and reusing stuff a daily, normal, hands-on habit. That's how values actually stick.
So in the end, the real test of everything we're doing today will be seen in what the next generation does tomorrow. And that leaves us with a really big question, and not just for teachers, but for every single one of us. As we think about the future we want, what are the fundamental values we're teaching and modeling right now, today?